The lyrics came from his heart, the beats came from my heart.
I remember Pete sending me the sample first, and I just was like, yo, Pete, hook that up. and I was, you know, and one thing about Pete's creations is he's inspired. So he's gonna feel it when he feels it. Like, it's not like, even if I say hook it up,
Yep.
he might be feeling it at that moment, or it might happen, you know, the next day or whatever. And I understand that space because we creatives like that. So he sent me the beat a few days later, and I remember sitting with the music and was like, what would this song be? Because the song felt so good to me, the music, the beat he had created, just made me feel good. And one of the things that is most fulfilling in my life is dreams. Like, I love dreaming, like, and the thought came to me about, the concept came to, like, what if I wrote about how people come to me in my dreams? Like, and I was like, I bounced it off somebody I knew, and they was like, yeah, that could work. So I was like, I'm about to just do it now.
You had a whole dreamer believer. You had.
Yeah, but yeah, I had the dreamer believer, but that was like more about like, okay, yeah, when I speak dreams into things, they happen.
Yeah.
That was kind of like about the actualization of dreams. But this was like dealing with like people coming to me in my dreams and what that would be, and the wordplay. It was a little more about the creativity of, like, I seen Prince, he was time traveling through the Morris days and Gladys nights. You know, like playing on words, and Sheila E. reminded me about the glamorous life. Ali was telling me why he had to fight. The struggle he never left so we could have our rights. You know, so it's playing on that. And then, you know, going through that took it to history, like of Mandela and President Barack Obama. And you know, like I'm saying, prison couldn't break Mandela. So it hit these different levels. And for me, dreams, I always talk about dreams. You're right. Dreams is my thing. But this song was different just because of the fact that I did talk about, like, almost the ancestors visiting me in my dreams. And my cousin Ajale, who I referenced at the end of the song, is the first person I wrote my rap with. I hadn't talked about him much, and because he passed in 2009. It's been one of those hard things to deal with, so I spoke about that. But everything in dreaming is joyful. It's like it's a uplifting. It's light. So I love that song. And then we added the Aretha Franklin sample, "Daydreaming," and it just became so special.
Yep.
That was the first song that Pete did ad-libs on, and I was super geeked. Like, I played it for my homie as soon as he did it. Like, yo, Pete ad-libbing on
You
the
came
song.
up with that Aretha.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yo, when you said it to me, immediately, I was like, oh, that's going to work.
Yeah, I know you did.
With the melody of the beat, I was like, that's going to work.
I was like, Pete, I was thinking about this Aretha thing, but I don't know if it'll work. He said, yeah, it's going to work.
It's going to work.
It's going to work. I was like, okay, good. Let's see. And when I heard it, it's just, man, I love it.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Chi-Town Do It was, you know, originally when I made the beat, it didn't exactly say Chi-Town in it. And I sent it to Common, and he was like, only one thing about it. I love this, but only one. I can't, you know, talk about New York being from Chicago. So he switched it up, and we made it Chi-Town Do It. And it's a pretty hardcore, soulful beat.
Yeah. And Pete was like, man, that Ye thing will work, you know, when he was like, as soon as that's when I was like, damn, this dude Pete is a freaking, like, library of, because I said, listen, I can't use the Brooklyn Do It. I'm living in Brooklyn, but I can't use the Brooklyn. I gotta say Chicago. And he's like, okay, we're gonna say Chi-Town. You know, when Ye say Chi-Town, he came immediately with that, and I was like,
scratch,
and I was like, that's dope. And then he put these horns on the chorus, and I was like, he's like, these horns are gonna work. And anyway, that joint became Chi-Town Do It.
Yes.
It's a fun joint, you know, me talking to a woman, but a little fun and being clever.
Yeah.
I like that you tried to, like, convert it. I mean, you're essentially a New Yorker now.
No. I got listen.
Yeah.
I have ultimate love for New York. I got love for New York.
He still disses the Knicks.
So I went to the Knicks game.
Sneak
Let me
diss.
keep my tickets.
He's a sneak disser.
But listen, I got to go home to Chicago, brother. I'm a Chicagoan through and through.
Yeah.
I just got love and reverence for New York. It's one of the greatest cities ever.
Yeah.
and all these dope people come from there.
Come on, man. Oh.
Yeah, so this man's arms was, it's a soulful joint. And Pete, on the way, we were working on the song. He was on the way to the studio. He sent me the sample, and I was like, man, you gotta hook that up.
That's all I kept hearing.
Yeah,
Everything I said, he's like, yo, hook it up.
Yeah, hook that up. Like, yo, it was such a unique song that he sent to me. Like that song, the original. We paid for the clear, so it's Lolita Holloway. So it was unique because what's funny is she got songs that we used to listen to in Chicago that was like house songs for us. So Lolita Holloway is already, so I didn't know she had that type of soul.
Hit and run, man.
Hit and run. Hit and run.
What? It's crazy because I'm a digger. I'm a deep sea diver. So I found this song that she did, but it's a super rare joint. No one even knew it existed. And when I found it and heard it, I was like, damn, let me send this to Rashid. And then when he came back, I was like, yo!
Yeah.
And then I just, he
Put
did what
that
I
together.
did.
He did that.
Well, he's a Chicagoan, Curtis Mayfield, so, I had to, do one Curtis joint that made sense with him. You know what I'm saying? And when we came up with this one track, I doing, sent him the sample, and he was like, yo, hook that up. That's Chi-Town right there. You hook that up. So then I did, and there's various parts to this record. So when you hear the song, you're not going to hear it in its entirety because I did something, I chopped it up and made it go differently. And we loved the result, and it was crazy.
And then when I was thinking because Pete had sent me different ways he would do the beat. Like he had different ways he had chopped it. I was like, I like that way, Pete. And then
so you give him options.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, about three.
Yeah.
About three.
Yeah, it's like you could tell it's inspired because it's like right in that moment he'll send it, and then it's like, oh, I'm like, damn, he sent me another way like maybe 3 minutes later, and I'm like, okay. So, but I also heard like the vocal sample saying we're on our way, and it just made me like Curtis. The spirit of that Curtis Mayfield was to me like about black love and upliftment and elevation. So that's why I came like. Our destination is constant elevation. You could tell the nation.
Yeah, we're on our way.
We on the rise through the lows and the highs. Tell the world to recognize.
Yeah, we're on our way.
And we've only just begun.
We've only just begun to live.
Yeah, to live. So that I actually wrote that song kind of in the spirit of what. Sometimes I'll write like, well, how would Curtis, if Curtis was rapping, not, what would it? What's some of the things he would be saying? What's the spirit of what he would convey? And that's how I wrote that song in particular.
Yeah. One of my favorites, right there.
Yeah. So, what did you want to say?
I just want to say, like, it reminds me of the beach. It reminds me of the beach, summertime. Vibes. If you got a convertible, the roof is off, and you're driving. Even if it's a long distance drive you're doing, you're gonna be satisfied with good music in your ears.
Yeah. When Pete made that beat, he definitely was like, listen, people gonna be bumping this in the summertime. This is one of those, and I was like, I didn't know that it would be, but what I did know is, like, it was something about the sample that made me think about being fortunate. And I thought, it felt like almost the sample was saying fortunate, but it's not an American record, so the language is not American. So I just created the thought of fortunate. And then I had Bilal sing "Fortunate" to make the hook like a fortune.
Bring it to it.
Bring it to to life. And then for me, I just wanted to really just started thinking about like, man, the simple things in life that I'm just grateful for. That I'm fortunate for these things. Like, and even like coming from where I come from, just my mother and my grandmother's love, or the God that I'm talking about. One of my good friends who passed, who was one of the gods, like what he taught me, like, and just my friends that I grew up with. I talk about most of my brethren are from '87, childhood friends. I'm glad that I kept them, and then eventually get to like saying fortunate, I'm told to search for a savior. Fortunate I had a chance to raise her. I'm talking about my daughter, like, yo, we search for saviors in certain places, but the saviors are within us and in our youth.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course I say I'm fortunate for beat rock.
Right.
I get all this.
And we both have daughters, so I
Yeah.
get his, his story.
Yeah, so that's fortunate.
What's your beach that you go to, Pete? What beach are you thinking of when you think of driving the beach?
Hillshire and Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, Jamaica beaches are the best. I won't swim in any other beach but Jamaica. I will not step foot on no other shore
Besides Jamaica.
That's right.
It's here true to Jamaica. I love it.
Yep.
So many people, man, like, man, that bass line was just so stupid. It was like so soulful to me. Like I was excited when I got that beat. And he chopped this drum break that I heard, but the way he chopped it was just different. Like Pete Rock.
I just want to say this one thing. With that song, right? Because I'm a person that likes to connect the dots and make something make sense if I'm sampling drums. Because I sampled it one way, but I didn't like how I put the sample in, and then I turned the drums around and it's still the same drums. I didn't do nothing different or chop it. I just turned it around, right? Because it made sense when I turned it around with the sample. And that's what you hear now. And how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I loved it, like, because, in hip-hop we've grown and we know certain drum breaks that's just been around, like that we've heard them. But it's about how you use it, you know?
Yep.
As the great guru said, rappers are art, you can't own no loops. That's how you hook it up in the
Round style troupe.
So those drums, when he flipped those drums, I was like, this dude is brilliant. And to me, when you make an album, I like albums to go different places. And I love concepts too. And I think so the concept came to me to personify faith, hope, and destiny.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking. I'm talking to Destiny in the first verse, and what she means to me, and how, I've been seeking her. And then I'm talking to Faith in the second verse, and then I talk to Hope in the third verse, and say you need all of these, at some point. And so many of us people need those. So that's why so many people is like, 'cause I was really thinking about what do so many people need and what do we want.
Wise Up is that I wanted to give him something New York. Even though he's from Chicago, I wanted to show people like it don't matter where you're from. It don't matter if the beat is a New York beat. It's about the skill. And so when I played him the sample, he's like, yo, hook that up. And so that's his shit, like, yo, hook that up. And I took a favorite part of the MC Shan record, The Bridge. There was a part that I always loved when it broke down in the middle. After, I think it was his second verse, and then he just went into a break, and I took that part and put my own thing in there.
Yeah, A God There Is. It initially was entitled There Is a God, and that's why you hear that. And when Pete sent this beat, I was like, I think it was like this is one of the second beats I chose for the album. And I always thought it was Aretha Franklin, and it wasn't Aretha Franklin. And I was like, Pete, who is it? And he told me it was. But I just, I love talking. I talk about God. I feel like the music that we do comes from the Creator, and like God is.
There's a connection with God.
It's a connection with God. When we are creating our best music, it's the connection of God that's coming through.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to stay lyrical on it, but still talk about the spirituality of things. Yep. And eventually I was playing the music, and Jennifer Hudson was like, is that Aretha? And I was like, no, that's not Aretha, but ding. I was like, she played Aretha in a movie. It would be dope if I get her to sing on this. So I asked this incredible writer named PJ, and she's an artist named PJ, to write a chorus that would fit Jennifer in her Aretha zone.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so then...
You had done an album with PJ a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, I did it. PJ is
She dope.
She is so dope, man. She one of the
dope.
dopest
Ooh, she
artists I
dope.
ever
Ooh, she dope.
been around. So she hit all type of zones. We got there's other hooks that they ain't even get used that was in Aretha. But when Jennifer heard it, she was like, "Oh, I love that," and she just bodied it. Jennifer just was like, I could tell she just was soaring with it and like just soaring like this was.
But there's a part of this song I cannot listen to. It makes me emotional because, you know, we lost some important, close people in my life. So it's just music to me. I'm in tune with music so much. When she sung this end part at the end, I just, everything in there was just going crazy, you know, and I was just like, wow, man. So it's difficult to listen to that part, but it's so great. You know, so it's nothing wrong. It's just something wrong with me. Nah, not really. But you know what I mean.
No,
Like,
it's the connection.
nah, it's the connection. I connected with it. Yeah.
It flows to church. It
Yeah.
flows to,
It's the same with Reminisce. When I did They Reminisce Over You, it's the same thing. We all cried, listen, you know, after we finished the song, and it reminds me of that. Lyrically, this guy's a genius.
Thank you,
Period.
brother.
Period.
Thank you, good brother.
Fast beat. Too.
Yeah, fact. That was a fact. That's one of the more up-tempo joints we have as far as tempos on this album. But the beat is hard. The beat is like, it just made me think of the street and just MCing. And as soon as I like started the rap, the thoughts came to me as just rocking like I'm rocking at a party and wanting to light it up like people that know I'm an MC. So I say I jam on anything I am on. About the blow like I'm trying to keep my hands warm. God, see, I came in a man's form. When I return to dust, it'll be a sandstorm. Tell the people the master got plans for 'em. Pour a little liquor when I know my man's gone. Over bars, I'm never tender. With love, I force MDs to surrender.
Woo.
Ancient remedies that my gramps will remember. What I'm talking about on there is I'm saying I'm forcing doctors to do the ancient stuff instead of that prescription and all the stuff they give us.
Chemo and all
That I'm like, and don't get me wrong, I understand that Western medicine can help. I work with doctors, but it's ancient remedies that our ancestors have that are natural I go to those first. So I'm talking about that. And anyway, that song I just wanted to MC and like deliver my philosophy in certain ways and we had J-Rock scratch on that.
Yep. Shout out to my boy, the beat junkie himself, J-Rock.
Yes,
Thank you for that, brother.
Thank you, brother.
You
Yes.
murdered that in the end. Thank you.
Yes, he did. He did the scratches
Real.
at the end, and he did the chorus scratches.
Yeah.
I really, Lonesome, I'm grateful to talk about because I really love this beat when Pete sent it. And sometimes when I get certain beats, like they sound so good, it take my spirit to a place, and I also get like, what can I do to this song to make it elevate? Like, sometimes I could overthink is maybe what I'm saying, or just because I feel the music itself is already so great. And I remember being at Pete's crib and he was like, yo man, it's people that's lonely out there. Just like talk, it's people that's lonely out there. And with the chorus saying, are you lonesome? I was like, man, it felt good to hear from this black man, this real, this true, this sincere. Like, man, everybody get lonely.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a manhood conversation in a way that we had that just as human beings. It was a human to human conversation that sparked me to be like, man, I'm gonna talk about what places I felt lonely. And I did it in my own MCing way, because the bar was to stay at, like, even if I'm rapping about something that's spiritual, serious, still be lyrical with it. Yeah. And I'm talking, in the first verse, I'm talking about, like, man, I used to feel lonely because I didn't know, but my father wasn't really there in that way. So that affected my relationships and not wanting to be in them. So that was the loneliness. And then eventually I get to the third verse of talking about my daughter and letting her know she'll never be alone, and just the struggles that she goes through. But it was Pete telling me, like, yo, man, it's people that's lonely out there that really sparked me to go where I wanted to go with it.
For me, it was all about reality and how we live our lives for real. Like people go through these things. So I'm like, this is a good concept. Let's see if he'll bite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he bit. You know? So, yeah. I'm really proud of this one. Not because I rapped on it. It's because I made this from a Latin record. You know, like I'm from the Bronx before I moved to Mount Vernon. So I lived with, I grew up with Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? So my father also loved Latin music, and I used to always listen to him play like Ray Barretto, so many, you know what I'm saying? Like so many artists that I never knew about. And then I used to always notice this Spanish label called Fania Records. And so anytime I saw that label, I knew something good was on it. And so when I found this record, it was so good that like the one song I made 4 beats from. And I just talked to him recently about doing a remix, just adding elements and making, you know, but it's not, there's an intro to the song. And so we were going to use that as the remix.
Yeah. And it's, by the way, with Pete rhyming on it was just one of those things that, man, Pete, I really wanted Pete to kick a verse on the album and didn't know if he would want to or not. And then, you know,
I was scared.
I picked that right moment. I picked that right moment to just be like, Pete, will you key? He's like, hell yeah, I'll do that, you know. And then, you know, once he made that beat, he knew which beat he wanted to rhyme to. So he was like, yo, I'm gonna get the verse done. And he did that, man. It's so great to hear him rhyming. It's been a joy, like the calls I've been getting, like, yo, you got a Pete Rock verse. You know, it's just, you know, like I told him, it's something, man. I still got my theory that there's certain producers, they just rhyme so good to the beat that you know they raps better than you know the rappers rap. You know, 'cause it's just like they more catchy and their cadences are more rhythmic, and it's just something like they know how to be more instruments than we do.
Yeah.
For real.
When
Yeah.
was your last recorded verse?
No. I did something with Saigon recently. You know, I did a song with him. I've been sporadically, you know, saying some things. You know, not nothing like this. But when he did ask me to rap on, I was like, yes, yes. You know, so I was really excited, and then the outcome was even greater. So
I initially wasn't thinking about getting any MCs on the album. I just wanted to kind of like rock him it, you know, or, you know, KRS it. But they just, you know, they the MC. You get them.
Yeah.
But
It's a great song.
yeah, and I can remember like having the music, and I remember I was sitting in a hotel in Marina Del Rey, and I was listening to the music, and I was like, when the sun shines again, I just started thinking of, and I was thinking about like how Donald Byrd and those guys be doing like Spaces and Places, you know, like those type of singing, like
Mazel Brothers.
Mazel Brothers. So I was, when the sun shines again, just came to my mind, and I was like, is this gonna sound too soft to this beat or whatever? And then I ran it through my creative committee, and they was like, no, that's kind of dope. And then I just I laid down a reference, and I wanted Bilal to sing it. So I had Bilal sing it to make it sound like not out of tune. And I put my little vocals under there, and the sister Marnie, who I work with, and we just kind of just made it more, what's the word? Like, yeah, like feel good, but still could be hip hop singing the way Daylight and them would do stuff.
Right.
And point blank, like, I just felt like we felt that Paz would be dope on it because there was a little connection there.
Yes.
Earlier connection to that particular beat.
Yep.
So Divine God is great, man. It was like Paz said he would do it, and he was right. He was about to be leaving out of town, going on vacation, and he said, I'm gonna write this on this Thursday night. He wrote it that night, went to the studio early Friday morning, laid the verse down, and I was like,
Then he broke out.
then he left. And I was like, yo, it just felt right, man, because this album, to me too, along with listening to a lot of Pete Rock and a lot of Tribe and a lot, I've been immersing myself in De La Soul too, especially because, you know, their music had just come to streaming. Yeah. So I was able to listen to like Balloon Mind State again, and you know, De La Soul is Dead, and those things, and for some reason I feel like the spirits of True Goy been around. Like I just love Dave and what they mean to me. So to be able to get Paz on it. It was just amazing. The song turned out, his verse blessed it, and then Pete started putting them scratches at the end, and it's just like, it's a glorious joint.
Yeah, it worked out for the best. Yeah. One of my favorites, PJ, shout out to her once again, singing in the hook. It was a perfect hook, perfect beat, and perfect lyrics. And this one of the beats I told Cameo, just relax.
Yeah.
And that's one of them beats. You know what I'm saying?
And I just relaxed in it, and it's got something jazzy about it. So it was like felt good to relax in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man,
And it was perfect too, the way he did it. You know.
Yeah. So Now and Then is actually kind of one of my favorites, to be honest. And I don't know, man. When Pete sent this music, I was like, yeah. This is I don't know, that's one of my favorite beats on the album. For some reason I just love the soul and this, yeah. So I was like, I gotta write a good rap. So I started writing some stuff, and then it just clicked with me, like, you know, the holy matrimony of rap music and Stoney. On the mic I'm nice, think that they know me. Meet you where you are, let God speak through these bars. Whether Rakim or Rashid, I guess the world is ours. You know, wrote 18 letters to the rap god, hoping I could be better. They said fine forever. I just want to be, killers want to swarm. The world is kind of jaded, I just keep willing on. Yo, I was like, yo, I'm about to MC and rap on this. And then I laid my verses, and then once again, Bilal add a little texture to it to bring out the thought of now and then, you know, because that was just a title. Sometimes when Peter sent a beat, I'll just be like, now and then. That's just my title. And then if it stick with me.
But you came with the scratch too. You told me what to scratch on that. You didn't forget.
Yeah. We ended up throwing some Martin Luther King, because I remember hearing this speech where Dr. King was like, now is the time. So we had that, and then we went through other ideas, and we came with this Posdnuos.
Yeah.
Every now and then I step to the now.
Yeah.
And it came from this song called I Am I Be off the Balloon Mind State, which I had been listening to a lot. And I love that song. That song was one of the first introspective songs I ever heard in hip hop. Reminisce was probably the first for me, like kind of like reflective, introspective. But I Am I Be was one of the next ones that affected me like that. So
and he's sharp with like knowing scratches, and when he hears a beat he likes, he's like, yo, scratch such and such on Stellar when you told me to scratch the main source thing, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, so we tried out. But of course he come with all the rest of the that be like elevating. So man, that's Now and Then. We ended the album with that. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I used to do interludes after every song. Yeah. So now when I you know, I kind of like don't do that. I didn't do that on this project because I just felt like, you know, the transitions, he really, you know, actually tapped in with me when it's like, yo, put an interlude there, don't put one there, put one here, don't put one there. So, but you gotta listen. You gotta listen all the way.
Yeah, them interludes, you gonna hear. In fact, those interludes, I've had already some MCs be like, because they saw it heard one on the video, be like, yo, yo, let me get that beat.
They want to rap to it.
Yeah.
But that's always the joy of those, because like every time, like you're like, I got this.
Like you know when
it's nothing. Like, here's 5 seconds of it, but no, that's
well. When Biggie came to my house, and that's what he wanted. He said, I want the interludes that you ain't using on your albums. Then he was like, yo, why you do that? And I was like, I don't know, I just like, I don't want to show my talent off a little bit and just have some little skits, you know what I mean? And so he said, well, that's what I want. Yeah, rest in peace, baby.
That's God bless his soul.
Yeah.